But first, thanks to our wonderful sponsors. I don't know if you just saw the news, but average U.S. household debt just hit $152,000. That's mortgages, cars, cards, student loans, but the national debt just hit $37 trillion. It's all going up. Ask yourself this: when the system hiccups, who bails you out? It's not the Fed, not the politicians, and that's why I own gold. Gold doesn't need a CEO, doesn't need missed earnings, it doesn't freeze your account on a Friday at 4:59. While they print, gold just sits there doing what it's done for thousands of years. Store value. If you're done playing musical chairs with your savings, get something real in your hand. That's why you should try our good friends Kirk Elliott Precious Metals today. Goldwithjustin.com. Kirk and the team going to walk you through what they're doing, whether you're a seasoned pro when it comes to buying precious metals or you're just getting started. Call Kirk and the team today at 720-605-3900. That's 720-605-3900, or go to goldwithjustin.com to find out how they can help you today. No pressure, just facts and a plan. That's goldwithjustin.com. Protect what's yours with gold. Goldwithjustin.com. Do it today. When the grocery shelves go empty, you're out of time. That's the truth. Disasters hit fast. Storms, blackouts, supply chain chaos, and the first thing to vanish is food. That's why smart Americans, just like you, are stocking up now with My Patriot Supply. You can go to preparewithjustin.com right now to get a 3-month emergency food kit, and they'll even throw in a free 4-week food kit to boot. That's 4 whole months of meals ready to eat. No refrigeration needed, all with a 25-year shelf life. We're talking breakfast, lunches, dinners, over 2
on Wood Radio.
Live from high atop Monroe Center in downtown Grand Rapids, we're talking about what matters most to you in West Michigan. Join the conversation now at 616-774-2424. That's 616-774-2424. It's West Michigan Live with Justin Barclay on Wood Radio.
Well. Welcome. It looks like we could get things back open today. The vote coming a little later on this afternoon in the House. Get the details of which, on the way, bit of a vote last night. Just procedural stuff in a committee that made that happen. We'll talk about that. Plus, day 42 rolls on, and how fast, if they reopen, can they get things really swinging again in? We'll talk about that. And 50-year mortgages. Good thing. Bad idea altogether. Dave Galloway joins us with the latest.
News, weather, and traffic. And the biggest stories of the day. We're talking about what matters most in West Michigan and beyond. This is the Big Three. Now, today's Big Three.
Yeah, the stories that matter most. Should be talking about these around the water cooler, the dinner table, no matter where you are, powered by our good friends at Heartland Home Mortgage. As I mentioned, Dave and the team working hard for you each and every day. Now, I don't have a 50-year mortgage. Nobody does yet. Well, they do in Japan. The details of which coming up, as I mentioned, about 9:35 today. And there's a little bit of back and forth on this. And, even amongst supporters of the president on it. Kind of an interesting thought. So we'll talk about that. But in the meantime, interest rates are already moving down the right direction, making things more affordable. Dave on last week with issues about that, trying to tell you what exactly you can do if you really want to take advantage. HHMlending.com, whether you want to buy, refi, home equity line of credit, Dave and the team can help you do just that. Get the answers you deserve. It was a moment yesterday, marking history. President Trump, the remarks from Arlington National Cemetery.
From the very beginning of our country, our great American flag has always been shielded and protected by a special cast of citizens who has stepped forward to safeguard liberty's cause. When danger came, when duty called, when Almighty God asked, Who had the will and the strength to defend the land of the free? Each and every American veteran stood up and said, "Here I am, send me, here I am."
The president saying America stands tall because America's veterans stood so strong. What a moment there in Arlington.
Number 2.
Speaking of the president, what does he say about the shutdown? Never should have happened. We're in day 42 of the Schumer shutdown. The House voted in committee earlier this morning to move the bill to fund the opening of government there. And, of course, the vote before the vote is what we're talking about. The vote in the full House looks like a little later, around 4:30. Air traffic controllers, by the way, still in a bind. Could expect to get paid within 24 to 48 hours.
Number 3.
It may take a little bit longer for things to really work themselves out. And speaking of air traffic, lots of it down in Brazil for that big climate summit. We talked about this yesterday on the after show. If you missed it, never miss a show, live or archive the show, the after show, our podcast conversations, and more. JustinBarkley.com and the iHeartRadio app, wherever you download your podcast, just search Justin Barkley and you'll find us. But lots of private jets headed to Brazil for the climate conference that they set in motion. Gavin Newsom's there, by the way. And the latest story that'll knock your socks off. I'm sure, yeah, you'll believe this. Some won't, but I'm sure you will. In preparation for it all, the government down in Brazil carved through the Amazon rainforest to build a new highway to get those elites to and from. The ones that are there to lecture you on whether or not you should be driving an SUV. They took private jets and carved out an Amazon rain. You can't make this up.
How dare you?
Yeah, the road cuts into prime forest land, could trigger further deforestation and habitat fragmentation. And ironic twist there as the summit promises to focus on tackling climate change. How dare you indeed. Never a dull moment with these folks. What's in that deal to open things back up? We'll talk about that. Fetterman sang it out loud. Who's running the Democrat Party? Well, it's Mamdani. Of course, you know that. And AOC and crazy Bernie Sanders and some of the rest of them. A Biden-appointed judge considering releasing hundreds of illegals nabbed by ICE in Chicago raids and more. We'll get to it all coming up. You want to join the program? You can. Love to hear from you on the phone lines this morning or the iHeartRadio app. Just click that talkback button, hit it. Little microphone next to the play button and sound off.
Call Justin now at 616-774-2424. That's 616-774-2424. West Michigan Live with Justin Barkley on News Radio Wood 1300 and 106.9 FM.
Okay. I promised and I will deliver. The shutdown, which the president said never should have happened, looks like will be coming to a close today, saying they tried basically to renegotiate that one big beautiful bill, which is, we've been talking about this from the get-go on this and the Schumer shutdown and all the shenanigans.
So the House is going to vote, and I think they're going to vote positively. I think most people want to see it open. Only people that hate our country want to see it not open because our country is doing so well, so we don't want to waste these times. These are precious times. We have $17 trillion plus being invested in our country. That's many times more than any country has ever had. We don't want to be wasting time. So they tried to basically renegotiate the great big beautiful deal. They weren't able to get it. And now they said, let's close up our country and we'll see if we can get it. But again, getting it for people that came into our country illegally from prisons, from gangs, from mental institutions, from, places that you don't want, and giving them $1.5 trillion in medical costs and things. You just can't do this. You can't do it. And it ruins it for everybody else. So they were not successful in renegotiation, and it looks like it's going to be opened up. But you're right. It's the House has to vote, and then, of course, I have to sign it.
Okay, so he's on Pat McAfee, which is a sports show. Are they on ESPN too, I think? Or as well, I guess I should mention. I think he's on ESPN as well. All right, so podcast streaming, he's all over. And then what's interesting about this, because it's a sports show. But it is Veterans Day, and they were doing a special show. But this guy caught so much flack and so much heat, he actually had to go out there and defend it for having the president on his show, which is, I agree with him. It's ridiculous. I don't care who you voted for. You got a chance to do that on Veterans Day. Why wouldn't he have done it? I mean, I would have taken Biden or Obama or Clinton. I would take any of them. I'd take Whitmer if she'd come on this show. I'd take Benson. You think those people will come on this show? They don't even want to talk to their own reporters half the time. I'd take them. Let it rip. I have no problem with that. Come on. Let's do it. No? So McAfee has the president on, and then people, because the left, they don't want you platforming him. Well, what do they mean by that? They don't want you giving him an opportunity to say any of the things that he just said. Why they want to control the narrative? Because here's their real fear. If you hear them and everyone else, here's the president speaking, you may go, well, that guy's got a point. I kind of like him. And then they can't get away with calling him evil and all the rest of it. Anyway, Bob in Grand Rapids is on the phone this morning. Bob, we'll start with you to start the show and the shutdown.
Good morning. Good morning, brother.
Good morning,
Justin, years ago, months ago, I called you and shared with you. I'm a retired Navy chief, 24 years, tons of medals for my hard work and the way I led people, et cetera, et cetera. And thanks again for the Gulf of America shirt. But anyway, God bless you. Years ago, when in Grand Rapids, they always have the Hollyhock Lane Parade right where we live. And I was on a chair, and Gary Peters comes through. And I have my Navy hats on. He comes over. Oh, you were in the Navy? Yeah, yes, sir. I was. Well, so was I. I was lieutenant commander, which is pretty high up. No. So anyway, I've been thinking with this shutdown. Last week I wanted to do it, and I was so busy. But in the Navy, when there is, you have to plan an attack or whatever. There's no negotiation. A commander can't say to captain, well, I don't agree with that. That's not good. So anyway, I kept putting this off, but I was going to call today, but it looks like they're going to finally work together. I was going to kindly chew him out and say, Commander, as a Navy chief with 13 medals for leadership and everything, said you blew it by not stepping forward and being a leader and working with your party to say, hey, wait, this is hurting the country, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And all these different things I was going to share with them. And I was going to say, you were a commander, you know how to lead. Why have you not led? And why are you following the mantra of the party when you're our senator in Michigan and you're supposed to take care of everybody, Democrats, Republicans, this, that, and everything else. So, sir, you have really dropped the ball, and you've been a big disappointment. And I served 24 years. I don't know how long you did, but I'm honorably discharged. I have 100% disability. And I said, you just didn't lead like you know how to lead. And I was all set to call the White and congressional the operator in Washington D.C. leave a message with one of his handlers, and we'll see how that goes.
Hey,
a while
Bob.
back, I left Hillary Scholten too. So anyway, enough said. Appreciate all you do, and
thank you, sir. Listen, I got to tell you, you ought to still call because Peters. Now, it's true the Senate. But you ought to give them an earful because Peters and Slotkin, both of our senators, both of them voted against reopening the government. Both of them. And then, Scholten will be another issue. We'll find out where she is at 4:30 today. But, yeah, great points, Bob. And thank you, sir, for your courage. I appreciate it. Serving in the Navy, you obviously understand that, we honor you and we thank you each and every day, but especially yesterday. I got more coming up. We're going to get into it. I just saw Fetterman got into it, speaking of which, with the girls on The View, and the ladies there are probably not happy with him after it all went down. Maybe we'll pull that clip up for you as well. Hang on, we've got more on the way. 50-year mortgages, what will that look like? The folks at Heartland Home Mortgage, Dave Galloway and the team, standing by, keep you updated on that as well. Don't go anywhere. It's West Michigan Live. In the meantime, please join us, if you're able, and rise for our national anthem.
Live with Justin Barkley on News Radio Wood 1300 and 106.9 FM and on demand anytime on the iHeartRadio app.
Here are your headlines from the Midwesterner this Wednesday, November 12th. I'm Robin Poffman. It's a Midwesterner.news original story. Members of the Michigan delegation en route to Washington, D.C. to vote in the House after the Senate votes to reopen the government. Our two Michigan senators, Democrat Alyssa Slotkin and Democrat Gary Peters, voted to keep the federal government shut down. Now, once the vote takes place, the earliest the government could actually reopen is Thursday, but air traffic's still impacted by the shutdown, with the nation's top 40 airports facing a 10% reduction in flights by Friday, so lots of cancellations and delays in store. And Secretary of State Jocelyn Benson is not relinquishing control of her department's IT projects, even though she's required to do so. For these stories and more, visit the Midwesterner at themidwesterner.news.
Find out how to
All right, good morning, folks. Freedom Fam is rolling right along on the VIP this morning. Good morning. Appreciate you guys being here with us. I see a few friendly and familiar faces. Gritter's in the house. Tim, good to see you. Manda, thank you so much. Hemi, Panda, thank you all for being here. Andrew, good to see you too. Gary Peters is a sellout. Well, and he's out after. That's what this next Senate race is for, is to replace him. So thank goodness for that. Karen, good to see you. Thank you so much for being here with us. Michigan Joe, good to see you. Jill Marie. So many others this morning in the Freedom Fam. Salo Sue, Cook Garden So, Patriot Dean's in the house. One of the latest additions to the Freedom Fam. By the way, if you haven't joined us yet, just $7 a month. You just got a little bit of an extension, a reprieve until that price goes up, because so many people wanted to be a part of it. It'll go up to $9 a month, and then you're stuck. But you'll be grandfathered in at $7. And, of course, if you want to join for a full year, you can do that. That's a cool way to do so. You get a month free and a copy of my book, signed and sent to you. Sharon, Lou, James, good to see you too. Thank you all for being here this morning. You guys are always so great. You're always such a big part of supporting the program. We thank you for it. Jeremiah L. Waldron over on Rumble today. The Rumblers, such a time as this. Thank you, Sheila. Good to see you. History Diggers. Liz Beth. Thank you. And Jen Lynn on the book. The Bookers. Thank you for helping us share. Yes, we're waking up folks on the left and even some on the right each and every day. We appreciate you helping us share this program, get the word out. Please do so. Sherry, good to see you. Tammy, Jessica, Jason. Good to see you're doing well. And Kick and Brian, good to see you. Charlene, Bonnie, and so many others back on the air in just moments. Stand by. Here we go.
Wait, stop? What?
Yeah, it's going to be a whole lot of history, a whole lot of funny, and a whole lot of fabulous guests. Paul Scheer, Angela and Jenna, Nick Kroll, Jordan Klepper. Open your free iHeartRadio app, search Snafu with Ed Helms, and listen now.
Setwood Radio is a preset now on our iHeartRadio app. Powered by Michigan Auto Law. Auto accident attorneys. Visit autolaw.com.
That's autolaw.com.
Yeah, he refused to be talked down to. John Fetterman, standing up, by the way, said, I don't need a lecture from you on The View. It was glorious, in fact. I want to get to that coming up here in just a moment. First, we'll say thank you to folks at the Good Feet store powering this show and me each and every day. You know, it's one thing, got to be on your feet to get through the stories every day, but you really got to be on your feet as a dad to a couple of girls, now 3 and soon to be 5. They are getting bigger every day. And boy, oh boy, you can't take a break. There's never a dull moment. You think the news headlines come at you fast? Drinking out of the fire hose. Life comes faster with those 2 girls. I can tell you that much. And I wouldn't miss a minute. I don't want to miss any of it. And that's why the folks at the Good Feet store have helped me do just that. Stay on my feet for all the fun, the games, and all the moments that matter most. Don't miss out. You found yourself doing that this summer, maybe avoiding things because you were in a little bit of pain, or maybe just going through the discomfort of the day-to-day. You had to prop your feet up around 3 o'clock in the afternoon because you're on your feet all day. And when you get home, you just don't have time to deal with all the things that you'd like to get done, those big projects or whatever it might be. Well, the folks at the Good Feet store can help. The personalized art support system helped me. And I'm just telling you, if you go in, I think you're going to absolutely love it too. On 28th Street, right there in front of Costco, or in Portage on Westnedge in front of Kohl's at the Good Feet store. Stop by, tell them I said hi. And of course, like I said, enjoy life again. That's the way to do it. Speaking of joy, well, there's Joyless on The View, and Sonny, who with a not-so-sunny disposition, tried to take out Fetterman, the senator with a Democrat that really seems to have the only one with common sense these days, and he's not having
a horrific mistake. Governor Gavin Newsom called it pathetic and a surrender. Poll after poll found more Americans on both sides of the aisle blaming Republicans. Even Marjorie Taylor Greene blamed
It's not true.
GOP.
If it's a Republican shutdown, why were the Democrats able to end it, Sonny? Come on.
As you mentioned, Democrats had big wins last week, so you had momentum. Why give in now? Why bring a butter knife to a gunfight? Are you willing?
By the way, he never gave in the entire time. He was standing strong. He never changed his position.
To gamble that the GOP will negotiate on health care in good faith once the government reopens, because if that gamble is wrong, 500,000 Pennsylvanians that you represent, their health care costs will skyrocket if you are wrong. And I believe you are wrong.
Well, first of all, MTG is quite literally the last person in America that I'm going to take advice or to get their kinds of my leadership and values from. And now, if Democrats are celebrating crazy pants like that, then that's on them. And I don't need a lecture. I don't need a lecture from whether it's Bernie or the governor in California, because they are representing very deep blue kinds of populations, and a lot of those things were part of the extreme. And now remember, what really needs to win, the big win, is involving my state and other states and those things. And why have we arrived here after the election a year ago? We got to forget some of the things that cost us that election. Or now, for me, it's like, that's why I'm trying to remind people that kinds of the extremism, we can't return to those kind of things, and realize we need to find a way forward. And I would like to, rather than cite MTG, I'm going to cite one of the new governor-elects saying that my election is not a green light to continue the shutdown, because I promise you, this isn't a political game. It is viewed by many of us, but the reality is 42 million Americans now not sure where their next meal is going to come from, and because we vote like that, or people that haven't been paid for 5 weeks now, and that kinds of chaos. Those workers have to borrow more than $500 million, from their credit union just to pay their bills now. So for me, we're in the middle of this.
Senator, I got to ask you to hold up.
They cut him off to go to break. The guy that had a stroke, he stroked out, making too much sense for The View. Wow. More in minutes. We'll be back with good friend Dave Galloway, and you don't go anywhere. We'll hear about the 50-year mortgages and the updates and the headlines you will not want to miss. We're back after this.
Make your smart speaker smarter. Stream us.
Okay, getting smarter now.
It's West Michigan Live with Justin Barkley on News Radio Wood 1300 and 106.9 FM.
Okay, everybody. We are rocking and rolling with the latest and greatest. Give me one moment here. They're going to get into the news. Let's see if we have any updates. Hang on.
Absolutely know what happened. Open your free iHeartRadio app, search Paper Ghosts, and listen now.
Now, the latest news from West Michigan and beyond. News Radio Wood 1300 and 106.9 FM.
Good morning, 9:30, 47 on the lakeshore. The sun is eking through the clouds and 45 in Grand Rapids. I'm Dave Wheaton. This is Wood Radio News. The government shutdown could be coming to an end. Fox's Ryan Schmelz has the details.
The House is likely to vote today on a funding package that would reopen the government until late January, ending the longest government shutdown in U.S. history.
At the end of the day, the fight lives on.
House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries expects the majority of Democrats to oppose the bill since it doesn't include an extension of the Affordable Care Act tax credits. Republicans can afford to lose 2 members if the House is in full attendance and if no Democrats vote with the GOP. 8 senators who caucus with Democrats supported the measure in the Senate.
A seasoned field training officer and an officer with the Grand Rapids Police Department for only 2 months were on routine patrol yesterday afternoon at just before 2 when they came upon a teen known to them and wanted for the theft of a handgun. Well, they stepped out of their car, called out his name. 18-year-old then turned and fired multiple shots. Officers returned fire.
They got the guy, by the way, too. They got the guy. He's in jail now. Thankfully, nobody was hurt. What a wild day yesterday. Okay. Back at it. I'm going to go check my good friend Dave Galloway. I think he's standing by. I think he just stepped away. Stand by. There he is. There he is. Dave, how are you, man?
I'm doing good. I'm just filling up my coffee. So
I'd
hate to try to perform without that.
Oh, feel free to do that. Hey, let me ask you. Your phone is like up and down right now. Could you switch it horizontal? It might make you look a little. Make us look busy there for a second, but
that looks crazy. Does that work better for you? Or can I, if I flip it back, does it recalibrate?
Yeah, that looks good too. But the problem is when you go full screen, you're just kind of sitting there in the middle. So, that's why if you can't, but it looks like to me like can you get it higher, whatever it's on, a tripod or something? Because if you could get it higher, the camera might look a little bit better.
I can try. Hold on.
If not, that's okay. Folks, this is why we do the behind the scenes live stream. It is literally the good, the bad, and the ugly. You get to see it all.
Is that better?
Let's see. Let's check here. What do you got? Yeah, that'll work. We'll just go with that. That'll work. I was actually, if you're going to flip it higher, we're going to try and see if we can do horizontal.
Oh.
Yeah, let's try that. Let's see what that looks like. It's still kind of. Now, I think you're better going the other way. Yeah,
I think so too.
We'll do that for now, and we'll work on your shot later. Look at the video stuff later. You look good though.
Thanks, man.
Absolutely. Go get your coffee. Go
right, I'm
run.
on it.
Get plenty of time.
Thank
Go
you.
get that coffee. He is going to be fired up in just a minute. What I make picky. Well, guys, the reason I do that is because if it's like I just showed you, like if it's vertical, then it doesn't fill up the entire screen. And then when we go to like share it with like, we just give you this as an example. We'll go to share it with this clip here. It might make his face look weird. Like it might put his face in a weird. Let's just see what this does. Hang on, Dave. We're gonna.
How's that? There we got it. Now we got it figured out.
Yeah, that's good. That'll work. All right. See, so that's what I'm saying, folks. We gotta get our video stuff right. You know, we got to make it. This is part of the fun of the behind the scenes live stream. Thank you, Dave. Hang on one second. We'll be right back with you. You get to see the good, the bad, and the ugly. Where else do you get to see stuff like that? Huh? Where else do you get to see how the sausage is made? Full transparency and accountability. That's how we do it here. Full transparency and accountability. Yep, I know. Fetterman, no one really knows who's running the Democratic Party in the Senate. Isn't that funny? Or the House, he said. Isn't that funny? All right. Thank you for being here, folks. We got about 30 seconds until we're back on the air. In 30 seconds, we let it rip. Here we go. Dun, dun, dun.
Wealth, LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor. The opinions voiced and information provided in this material are for general informational purposes only and are not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations for
Hey,
any
it's
individual.
Glenn Beck, and you're listening to West Michigan Live with our good friend, Justin Barclay. The Glenn Beck program coming up at 10 on Wood Radio.
I've seen a lot back and forth on this, and I think it's one of the reasons that you got to bring in a trusted friend. Someone's got some experience in the subject matter to see it. I see kind of both sides of this, but pros and cons. I want to say we've been hearing this 50-year mortgage idea floated by President Trump. Fortune's got an article out that says it could save you $119 a month, but it would double your interest you pay over the long run. CNN saying, is this a good idea? Trump just floated a 50-year mortgage. They're doing it in places like Japan. But what does it look like for you and for others who are, trying to get things a little more affordable in the scheme of things? Dave Galloway, a good friend from Heartland Home Mortgage, joining us right now, hhmlending.com. Dave, welcome in. 50-year mortgage from the mortgage guy. Let's find out. Look, I saw Babylon Bee. You may have seen this too, but Babylon Bee article that said Dave Ramsey in critical condition did some care after hearing about the 50-year mortgage. Okay, I had to have a chuckle. Good, bad. What do you make of this, and how will the industry take it in?
Well, good morning. Thanks for having me on. And I mean, you can find positives to anything. Overall, I guess it depends on what your good, bad it would be all about, right? So, why is Trump doing this? I think the biggest thing you need to look at is his inflation fight, right? So he hasn't been able to get inflation down as fast as he wanted, interest rates, and that affordability, whether it's be insurance, property tax, or MB. So I think his response is, well, what can we do to improve housing expenses, right? So that is a way that you can bring down housing, like the monthly payment. And I think that's then you're taking a really completely fundamental shift in what you're looking to accomplish. Because if you want to be a homeowner, you typically want to end up paying that home off, going to retirement, and not have a loan anymore. Now, anybody who follows Trump knows he has no problem with debt, right? He'll borrow and borrow. He's fine with that. So he's looking at affordability. And so while in the past it was, once I got to my retirement age, hopefully my home is paid off, I think we're really fading into a different realm of, hey, how can I make my life more affordable in retirement? So if somebody is, 60 years old right now and they have 21 years left on their mortgage and they're struggling to make their house payments, well, if they can save a couple $100s a month, and do they really care on when they pay their home off? And I'm not endorsing one way or the other. I'm just giving a picture of the thought process. On the other hand, like you mentioned, Japan. So Japan went to what's actually called a generational mortgage, which is 100 years, right? So that's crazy.
Wow.
And they did that for affordability. Now, what's going to happen when if we go to these 50 years? Will it spur the housing industry? Will it improve affordability? It'll definitely improve affordability very temporarily, because all these home prices, just like in 2021 when rates were really cheap, all the home prices were set on what the payment comes to, right? So initially, if those payments drop because the 50 years introduced, home prices are going to escalate really fast. And they're going to spike because now you have a whole set of affordability that I can afford these homes. And what it did in Japan is actually made it to where the richest people were buying these homes, because they had such low payments, and it was spread out forever. And then they would just, the next generation would inherit them. And that's why it was called a generational mortgage. So there's tons of stuff going on here.
Man, oh man, lots to consider. So it's maybe a short-term gain in president's in his mindset here. Can I refinance? Like if I'm 20 years old and I get a 50-year mortgage and it makes it more affordable, I can get into that home that I want to get into. Can I refinance, or is the interest too heavy? What does that look like down the road?
We haven't gotten any specifics as far as what these programs are going to look like. I don't even know if it's going to be available on a refinance. I would assume it is, or if it's just going to be a purchase option. Because so this is just, once again, Trump throwing a tweet out, and I know some other people have mentioned it, but we haven't gotten any specifics to know. The one question I would have is, if you've ever gotten a mortgage and you've priced out the difference between like a 15 and a 30, the higher you go on term, the higher your interest rate is. So in a lot of situations, are you even benefiting much? Let's just say on a 30-year, your interest rate 6.25%, and if you take a 50-year, it's 7.25%. Well, are you really benefiting much from a monthly payment standpoint anyway? So that would be, we haven't seen anything as far as interest rates, program guidelines, or anything like that at this point.
So he wants rates to come down quicker. We have seen movement there. You and I talked about that. I think it must have been last week when we talked about that story. But it's maybe not as fast as he'd like to see. And then the other piece of this is affordability, right? Is can these kids afford it? But there's a lot that goes into that. And, some of that is the student debt, the loan debt that they're kind of sunk with, a lot of them. And gosh, I can't imagine, trying to make things work with that. It's already tough enough. So I understand the problem. I understand why people are looking for solutions here. And he does. I mean, he's got it from a political standpoint. Those young people they got him elected. So he's smart to make sure that he is taking care of them, because this is a real issue for a lot of these folks. But what is the way out? Boy, that's the question in itself, Dave. What do we do?
Yeah, part of the other thing that's not talked about much is the offloading of Fannie and Freddie as government sponsored entities, and that's a goal. I mean, we could see that happening possibly within the next 3 months, to where they are shifted off and they're private entities, and that's part of why he's pushing something like this as well. It's not going to be on the government; it'll be on them to create profit off it as a private entity. Also have competition for people, but we're at the highest point in history as far as housing ratio. And what that means is the percentage of your house payment taking up your monthly income. And that's the scary slope that historically, when it's had these spikes like we've just seen since 2020, as it's gone up, there's typically a response to that, and it's not a good one when it comes to home values. So I think they're looking at those stats, and they want to try and avoid the home values falling off because of affordability with income. So there, like I said, there's a lot going on there. It's curious to watch, and if you like to be a mortgage nerd like I am, there's some pretty cool charts you can look at that go all the way back, through the early 1900s to show how our income and monthly affordability are, how they're flowing historically.
Okay, so let's just say, because there's a lot of people say the debt and the long-term part of this is the problem. So let's just say that I'm a 20-year-old, I get a 50-year mortgage, and it solves my payment issue and things like that, and I feel good about it. But I'm kind of in the Dave Ramsey school, so I either want to pay it off as quick as I can, or I want to refinance, get a shorter term down the road. Maybe I can afford more, or maybe interest rates come down later and things really get affordable. Are those options? And what does that look like?
Yeah, you're always going to have that ability to refinance and escalate the payments on it. And if you have the ability to do that, then you definitely want to, because you are going to get a lower interest rate. The other thing is, does it spur more activity for people to end up renting their home instead of selling it? Part of the advantage when you sell your home is you get to collect that equity and use it toward the down payment on your next purchase. But if you're on a 50-year loan, you're not paying down much equity every month. So does it then make it more to where you'd say, well, I'd rather just hang on to it, rent it out, because because the payment's low on the 50 year. So yeah, you always have some opportunity to switch into something that'll pay off sooner. It's just, it's just a matter of where the trends go. If you go back to the 70s, everybody felt you had to have 20% down, and they were 15-year mortgages, and now it's become 30 as kind of the standard.
Okay. And to your point, as you just mentioned, Dave Galloway, Heartland Home Mortgage with us. If you've got more people, and I just do the math on this, but if you've got more people coming into the housing market because now they can afford to buy that house, even as first-time home buyer, whatever it might be different levels of home ownership in different areas. But if you've got more people chasing those homes, more money out there, the cost of the home, now your values will go up, but then the cost is also going to go up, which is what you said happened in Japan. So I think those are interesting things to note for people to take in, whether or not this actually becomes a real thing. It's being floated right now by President Trump, and these are pieces of it. Anything else we might want to consider when we're taking a look at this subject?
Yeah, I think it's the overall what would drive the housing market, what would spur cheaper homes, and that would be less regulation, right? It's like make it easier on the builders to get these homes built. And then also the immigration stuff of allowing people to come in and work on those homes. Let's get these homes built cheaper and faster. But that, of course, is something, Trump's tried to fight that. He's done a ton federally, but when you go to state levels, I mean, you think you're going to go into California and get them to make it cheaper and easier to build a home, you're out of your mind. They're not going to back off of that. So I think that's where a lot of this stuff comes in. Like, hey, what can we do? What options do we have? And certainly, like I said, I'm not advocating for the 50-year loan. I just think it's something they're trying to see, hey, what can we do that will initially have an effect on housing affordability.
And if you want to know why this is happening, this is one of the latest, some data out there. The median age of a home buyer in the U.S. now stands at 61. The median age of a home buyer stands at 61. First-time home buyers hitting a record low, 21%. That's why we see this 50-year, and it's amid the same time we see this announcement coming out. What does that tell you, Dave, when we hear those stats?
Yeah, it just says that salaries and income is not keeping pace with the cost of housing, and that's a struggle. And it seems to be the answer to this point has been, let's build more apartments and keep people renting. And I mean, I understand it if you're somebody who can't afford the house, and so that's the struggle, right? Is like, hey, where do we find that affordability? So if a 50-year could lend itself to somebody saying, well, now I can get qualified, now I can afford that home. So yeah, it may be an answer for some people.
Dave Galloway, Heartland Home Mortgage. Speaking of answers, you want help, you want to figure out what to do, you're in a situation, no matter whether you want to buy, refi, home equity, line of credit, whatever it might be, those are solutions. But maybe your questions are, how do I make things a little more affordable? How do I get rid of some of this credit card debt that I've got? How do I do any number of things? Dave has answers, and he's helped so many people who listen to this program. And I will tell you, not only save thousands, but they're faster, they're better than the big banks. Dave Galloway and Heartland Home Mortgage always willing to answer those questions for you. And Dave, that's why I think we appreciate you and always love to hear from you.
Hey, pleasure is always mine to be on it. Really appreciate you guys. Have a blessed day.
You too, brother. God bless. Talk to you soon. There we have it, folks. Some of the latest and the stories and news, the context behind it all that you just won't get anywhere else. That's why we do what we do, and that's why we're glad you're here for it. More coming up, and of course, we don't want you to miss a minute, live or archived. If you do, you can always find it at justinbarclay.com and a stack, or also the iHeartRadio app, wherever you download your podcasts, folks. You can stay up to date. Stocks are up again today. The Dow, I think, had a record yesterday on the close. Yeah. Traders getting confidence at a deal to end the shutdown. The S&P, modest gains. NASDAQ slipped a bit yesterday. They said that was because of tech stocks. Well, that's one of the pieces we're looking at, whether or not those are overvalued or not. And the talk about bubbles, this, that, and the other thing. Folks, it doesn't matter. That roller coaster ride that we're on each and every day, there are ups and downs. And if you want to retire, it doesn't matter whether it's today, tomorrow, 10, 20 years down the road. The folks at Guarding Your Nest Egg, Talon Wealth, are going to help you get to where you need to go and when you need to get there. Mike Lester and the team standing by to help you at guardingyournestegg.com, or you can call 616-661-1000. That's 616-661-1000, or tell them I sent you at guardingyournestegg.com. More back after this.
Focused on what matters to you. It's West Michigan Live with Justin Barclay on News Radio Wood 1300 and 106.9 FM, and on demand anytime on the iHeartRadio app.
Here are your headlines from the Midwesterner this Wednesday, November 12th. I'm Robin Poffman.
Rise today in support of Ms. Baldwin's amendment on a clean one-year extension of the healthcare.gov credits.
You're listening to Michigan Democrat Senator Alyssa Slotkin, who voted against opening the government.
Since July, I've been really clear. If you want me to vote on a deal, it's got to do something to bring down the cost of healthcare.
Slotkin, along with Michigan Democrat Gary Peters, voted no. Meanwhile, 8 other Democrats joining Republicans to get the government back open. Meanwhile, at this hour, members of the Michigan delegation en route to Washington, D.C. to vote in the House. The earliest the government could reopen is Thursday. Air traffic still impacted by the shutdown, with the nation's top 40 airports facing a 10% reduction in flights by Friday as a safety precaution. For these stories and more, visit the Midwesterner at themidwesterner.news.
Carrots Appliance.
Okay, folks, we're rolling right along. Got updates for you in minutes on the good folks at the West Michigan Patriots. Fantastic. Formerly the Ottawa County Patriots. They've expanded. Fantastic group. Great organization. They've got another big event coming up that I want to let you know about. What's up? It's wild to see this. I'm seeing this. I'm flying by, looking at stuff online. There's a post here that shows Culver's French fries sitting out of the fridge for only 2 days, and there's all this mold growing up. And I guess the person who took the video of this, let's see what they say. It's just like flabbergasted.
That is disgusting. My kids got Culver's 2 days ago. They never finished up the fries and left the box outstanding. No fridge for 2 days. And this is what I open up the box to.
You know, it's funny, and I know these videos go viral for a reason because it is kind of wild to watch, but the comment section is hilarious. Oh, so it means Culver's is selling real food. That's what people are saying. Yeah, this is processed cheese with chemicals. This is natural cheese, people are saying. Real food? Wow. It's wild. That is hilarious to watch people respond to this. And this video too. Holy cow. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I've seen that. I've seen some of these. So they're serving real food. That's what I take from this. McDonald's fries after being in a moist, humid attic for 37 years. I shouldn't laugh about this. Hey, maybe we'll bring this up today when we talk about our Maha update. It's my good friend, Maha Missy Malone, coming up at 11 today. We've got a great conversation with Troy from National Religious Broadcasters. Going to check in on some of the latest that's happening with him in the after show. That'll be about 10:30. So it's kind of some bonus content for you, especially if you're over on Locals and part of the VIP. We'd love to see you there. Thank you for joining us and being a part of the conversation. Hang on, back on in just a moment. Fast and Furious. The Glenn Beck program is coming up next, and the Fastest Hour Radio is coming to an end. But it's not the end of it all. We've got more coming up tomorrow. But don't forget also all of the live and archived conversations that we have in the podcasts. All of that can be found in the iHeartRadio app or at justinbarclay.com. And that's a great way to make sure that you stay in touch with all of the things that we have going on. And, of course, all the conversations that we have on a daily basis. Some of the behind-the-scenes live stream is wild today, too, at Facebook, Twitter, X, Rumble, Getter, Locals, and more. Appreciate y'all, folks, on Getter. Got to give them a shout-out, too, because I, sometimes forget to. But they're watching, as always. Thank you so much. Hey, our good friend Steve Redmond, Ottawa County Patriots. Now they're expanding to be the West Michigan Patriots, and a great organization with a big, serious topic of conversation for their next event. Steve, welcome in. I know we only have a few minutes, but I got to make sure that we cover this with you because it is such an important conversation.
Yes, Justin. The meeting is going to be, the topic is Violence in America, the challenge of rising violence and crime in America. It's going to be held next Tuesday, November 18th, 6 to 8:30 p.m. at the Howard Miller Community Center, 14 South Church Street in Zeeland, Michigan. And you can go to our website to get more information, OttawaCountyPatriots.org. It's a big topic. It's free and open to the public. And the key points we're going to try to cover are the root causes of political violence and the growing unrest in our culture, and how anti-Semitism and religious persecution adds to the widespread violence, and the dangers of anarchy, communism, and radical Islam for our national security. And we're going to try to connect all the dots with our speakers on violence, organized hate groups, and related things, and ways we can all help reduce violence. And the speakers are, 3 of the 4 speakers are people you know well: Mike Hewitt, Denny Gillum, Ralph Reband, who's running for governor, and Sarah Matoycik, who's our Ottawa County prosecutor. And all these folks are knowledgeable about this topic, and it's going to be an important meeting for people because there's so many elements to it. There's not just one thing that's causing this malaise in our country. It's a perfect storm of many elements, and we urge people to come out to this meeting to hear the speakers and talk with them directly.
Steve, we just saw the other day in Berkeley, TPUSA was doing, Turning Point was doing an event, and a man who was just outside giving out red freedom shirts and wearing a cross on his neck was attacked by another man who ripped the cross off his neck. He left him bloodied. Police had arrested both of them. And again, this violence just seems to be ramping up. If it's not, the assassination of Charlie Kirk, the attempted assassination of President Trump multiple times, and just the average everyday things that we see, ICE agents getting attacked, those types of things. But there's so many pieces of this. It's such a perfect time to bring this up in a conversation that has to happen. I am so glad you're doing it. Again, if folks want more information, we'll put up a link in our stack here. But again, it's happening the 18th at 6 p.m. at the Howard Miller Community Center in Zeeland. Always a pleasure, my friend. More details at OttawaCountyPatriots.org. Thank you, Steve.
Thanks, Justin.
You got it. God bless. Hey. That's it for our show today. We got more coming up in an after show. Never a dull moment. And, the Glenn Beck program right after this. Make it a great one, folks. God bless.
Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. Forgive us our trespasses. We forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, deliver us from evil. That is the kingdom and our glory forever and ever. Amen. Amen.
WOOD Grand Rapids, WOOD FM Muskegon. The news is next on Wood Radio.
You ready to step up? Hey, it's Justin Barkley for the Good Feet Store. They are on a mission to improve the quality of people's lives, 2 feet at a time. I've been telling you about them for a while now. Foot pain, back pain gone, all because of the Good Feet Store. And now, during the month of October, the Good Feet Store is not only going to help you get rid of your back pain, your foot pain, your leg pain, all the things that I've experienced for myself, but they're helping folks go the extra mile. Proud to support It's a Breast Thing, providing support to local breast cancer patients in Grand Rapids for the month of October. They're donating a portion of sales, including revenue from every Pink OS First sock they sell in October, directly to It's a Breast Thing, taking a first step towards comfort for yourself while stepping up for local breast cancer patients. That's the Good Feet Store, 28th Street, right in front of Costco, or in Portage on West Edge in front of Kohl's. Stop in and see if they can help you like they've helped me and help some other folks at the same time at the Good Feet Store.
This is the time of the year most of us are checking off our holiday gift list. Identity thieves have lists too, and you're...
All right, folks, we're firing it up. Stand by. Here we go. Rock and roll. We've got a couple of buttons to push, and then the after show is underway. Dun, 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 dun. Here we go. Get ready to strap in. It's going to be a heck of a ride. It's like drinking from a fire hose. Never a dull moment, but yes, you'll hear the stories you won't hear anywhere else, and we appreciate you being here with us for them today. I'm Justin Barkley. Yeah, welcome into the after show. It's a show after the show. That's why we call it the after show. Never a dull moment. And fastest hour radio flown by again. But man, we still got stories we got to share with you, and so many great ones today. Maha Missy update coming up. We're going to record for the VIPs over on Locals today at 11. If you're with us during the after show, you can hang out and see at 10:30 on Locals. We got a couple of things to record. Again, that's part of the perks of being a VIP member on Locals. You get Locals first. Locals exclusives, like the chance to see and interact with these conversations, ask questions to the people that we're going to be talking to. Today, the folks at National Religious Broadcasters, the President Troy will be on with us. And of course, we'll have that conversation coming up at 10:30 about some of the very things that we've been discussing here today, and even further beyond. Where things go from here when it comes to, First Amendment protection of especially Christians under attack. That man attacked, and we showed this the other day. His cross ripped off of him in Berkeley, California. He's bloodied. He's just out there handing out red freedom shirts, and he said, "Jesus loves you," and he's been attacked for it. What a time! What a time! Conversation about that will be coming up as well. So hang in there for that. And again, you get the secret show prep every day. The stories that I'm looking at daily, you see them before anybody else does. All of that and more, part of the VIP before the price goes up. A little bit later on, we've extended it. Just $7 a month now. You get grandfathered in. It'll never move on you. So that's good. And then a good chance, of course, to jump in and be a part of that conversation. Boy, oh boy, if you join for a whole year, you'll get a month free and a copy of my book. I'll sign it and send it to you. Good news, hope, and encouragement for trying times. Have you seen it? By the way, it is glorious. It's beautiful. President Trump gave a little bit of I guess this was a little bit of a tour to Laura Ingraham the other night, some of the craftsmanship that's happening inside the renovations of the White House.
The ballroom. I built many ballrooms and many buildings, and that's my greatest strength, actually. I might as well do this. So this room was in terrible shape. This was done by Jackie Kennedy. Jackie Kennedy Onassis, then Jackie Kennedy, I hope. And she took this area, it's called the Palm Court, and here we had one by one little tiles that were all broken, cheap, out of a box. Mm-hmm. The walls weren't good. We took it, I restored it. I put in new chandeliers. They had lanterns that were terrible.
I remember this room.
Yeah, it was a nothing room.
Yeah.
It was an embarrassment.
There
frankly.
was a seat, a bench right underneath there. Yeah.
To come to the Oval Office, you had to go through this room. It was an embarrassment, okay? And I took it down and rebuilt it. Same as she had it, but at a much higher level. And take a look at the floor. Take a look at the marble. So this is called.
It is really pretty.
Statuary marble. But look at the book ending. Look at the book match. Look how it matches.
That's tough to do.
No, it's very tough. You don't get it. If it's an eighth of an inch off, it's no good.
Is that brass? The brass?
That's a brass, 2 brass strips. But even if you look at the air conditioner vent, it's book matched.
Oh yeah.
Look at that. Who can do that? I can do that because I know that, it's even available that you could do that. Very few people can do it. So you take a vent that's supposed to be a piece of aluminum or steel, and the marble man said, I said, do you think you could book match a vent? He said, yeah, look at the other one over there, book match. But look at the quality of that job.
Where do you think you developed the attention to architectural detail? Like, at what age did you start realizing that's what you could do?
Yeah, I was involved with my father in building and all this stuff, and my father was a builder. So as a little boy, I'd be sitting there playing with blocks, I guess, and my father would be on the phone, and I'd be listening, I guess. And, you listen. I had a father who was very good at building. He was very good at building things, and so am I. I build better than anybody else. Nobody can build like me.
But was his...
Isn't that something? I didn't cut it off. That was the end. That was the clip. That was all that they had online. And I think, but this is really something to see the attention. By the way, I've told this story. Well, I've told it a handful of times to a few folks here and there, but I told it Saturday night, I guess. The event that I was at. First time I met President Trump. By the way, this is just to you know who he is, what his skill set is, his character. But the first time I met him, it was a really interesting moment. I was going in with some few folks that I had brought with me. You get picture, you stand in line. I tell you got to empty your pockets, take everything out, all this, all of this that you got to put it on a table. And there you go in and you meet with him. You got a few moments, right? You got a few moments with him. What was wild to me is that he has a great conversation with the people I brought in. My friend is there, his wife. I think he said something, or she said something about, you're the greatest. We appreciate you and all you've done, things like that. And he goes, I like her. It's just kind of funny. This is to me just one of the funnier moments ever. So then he looks over at me, and I have a little flag lapel pin on my jacket, and it's a little crooked. And he reaches over, he goes, wait a minute. About ready to take the photo, and he reaches over and he just adjusts that flag lapel pin and gets it straight. It's crooked. Let me get that. So he gets it straight. It had come crooked, since we've been walking around, and you're getting patted down and everything's moving. There's no mirror. There's nothing you can look at. You have to ask like somebody else. How do I look? That's my hair look. All that, because you're getting a picture. Again, you're getting a picture that people are going to cherish for the rest of their lives. A lot of these people are going to, maybe it's the only time they're ever going to meet him. Maybe it's this is a very special moment. And so he's aware of that. It didn't really hit me until later. We were driving home. He gave a speech that night and he was fantastic. But later on that night on the way home, I thought about it because, that's really interesting what just happened there. Not only did he notice the flag was off, right? He had that attention to detail to notice the flag was off. But he also then was willing to reach down and over and sort of just adjust it. Now, most people, we maybe notice it. Well, we probably don't say anything. You know what I mean? We certainly don't reach over and touch it and adjust it for someone else. And he did just that. So 2 things it showed me. The attention to detail, number 1. And number 2, what I thought was really fascinating was the humility that he had. I mean, again, he knows that people are coming to get these pictures and that they'll have them for the rest of their life. My friend has his hanging up on the wall, which is probably something that I should do myself, and I just haven't done that yet. I forgot, probably should get that thing framed and display it somewhere. But I just find that really, I think it's really interesting to watch, to see how it all sort of comes together. And then you see a video like we just watched and what he's doing behind the scenes. And I just don't think people get it. I don't think they 100% get it. Not like he does. Anyway, that's just something that I noticed. I thought, okay, I think it's behind the scenes look, and something the media is just never going to show you. They're never going to show you this. All right. Let's get to it, folks. What else do we have today? I got a couple of stories that I got to make sure you hear some videos as well. And then a little bit later on, we're going to hear from some folks, some special recordings that we're going to do. And yes, we're going to get down to, speaking of President Trump, let's do this. Did you see that the BBC has fired people because they put out this like fake video of President Trump? Well, Brian Stelter from CNN, of course, out there defending it all. The BBC is feeling the Trump squeeze. It's a move we have seen several times this year against vulnerable media companies. The BBC isn't a vulnerable media company, Brian Stelter. They're the official media arm of the British government, of the United Kingdom. They're not a vulnerable media company. Here's how he puts it. We should note that it's not clear that Trump has jurisdiction to sue, as media lawyer Mark Stevens told CNN's Max Foster yesterday. Aside from those technical hurdles. Now, why is he suing? Let me just show you. Probably the best way to do this, hang on, is just show you the actual video. So this is a doctored video that Trump, it was caught, the BBC caught red-handed doing this, by the way. It was from January 6th, 2020. Here's what they played. I think this may have been a documentary or some sort of news report.
We're going to walk down to the Capitol, and I'll be there with you, and we fight. We fight like hell. We're going to walk down.
Now you saw the edited version. And it had the music in there to make it sound like it was a lot more dramatic than it was. And then you're going to see now and it was edited because you're going to miss the very important part. There's a word that he says. And anybody without a brain remembers any of this, you were watching.
To the Capitol. And we're going to cheer on our brave senators and congressmen and women. We're going to walk down.
Oh yeah, there's a peacefully too that we didn't get that. And not in this one. Oh, it was a news report. Okay, so anyway, that's what he's now threatened to sue over. I think it's $1 billion. Caught doctoring the whole thing. So yeah, so by the way, when Stelter wants to tell you and give you background, so you gotta realize why this is happening.
Are you going ahead and suing the BBC?
Well, I guess I have to. Why not? Because they defrauded the public, and they've admitted it, and their top echelon.
Director General and the CEO
This
both
is
resigned.
within one of our great allies. This is supposedly a great ally. BBC the government has a chunk of that one, I guess. But That's a pretty sad event. They actually changed my January 6th speech, which was a beautiful speech, which was a very calming speech, and they made it sound radical. And they actually changed it. What they did was rather incredible. They're showing me the results later on, the results of what they did, how they butchered it up. But it was very dishonest, and the head man quit, and a lot of the other people.
Are you going ahead and suing the BBC?
Well, I guess I have.
So I like this, and the way Stelter is positioning, the way the left will position is just crazy. Yeah, they did leave out the peacefully. But the way Stelter is positioning is that he is trying to silence his critics. No, what he's trying to do is stop people from lying and stop people from misrepresenting, defaming him. And you got to do this because it sends a clear signal. When these people get hit with lawsuits, they stop. You got to play the game. By the way, the lawfare, all the things they did, lawfare on him. I mean, it's just incredible. So yes, you have to fight in these cases in those ways, and I think it's about time. It's about time to do it. You really can't miss an opportunity to go after some folks when they are acting the way that they have. All right, so we've got an update, by the way, on and this is probably a good one to share. There's back and forth. Remember on Monday, I shared with you the story about the guy who, it's a woman actually, former Capitol Police officer they suspect is the individual responsible for laying the pipe bomb at the RNC. Well, it wasn't the RNC, it was the Capitol Club, I guess is where they all go and have lunch. By the way, I've been there. Beautiful place. But the person that was responsible for leaving it there, really interesting. This guy, or excuse me, gal, the reports come out, they say matched her forensically to some sort of gait. The way she walked, she had a little bit of a limp. There are lots of different pieces of the story. The Blaze had the story. Again, people are questioning now whether the legitimacy of that story. And there's some people on the right. Now, I don't know. There may be questions that are legitimate to ask in this case. I will tell you this. The new information that we got from Rep. Thomas Massie showing that a whistleblower has come forward is really fascinating. There's people, January 6th pipe bomber whistleblower. Thomas Massie, based on my questioning of the witness, reported by Steve Baker and others in this 11-page whistleblower disclosure, I believe management at FBI has been covering up or has been grossly incompetent. Revelations about the pipe bomb investigations require answers. And he's addressed Director Patel here. Here's the whistleblower information. So-and-so believes that there was a gross misconduct and or fraud in the January 6th U.S. Capitol pipe bombing case and is providing this information to show that after FBI agents came within yards of the person who has been identified as a likely pipe bomber, the FBI surveillance team agents were ordered to cease their investigation, denied permission to conduct at least one logical interview, immediately removed from the surveillance and reassigned to do general leads work. Now, the interesting piece of this is that folks are claiming they had this gal under surveillance. And they knew who she was. Well, this is one of the things that I've questioned for a long time. You're telling me we didn't know who this was? The individual that the Blaze names, a former Capitol Police officer, one of the first to fire on the crowd that day, now works for a 3-letter federal agency. I think it might be the CIA. And now we know, and at least we have this whistleblower report, that there's more to the story. But we do have people asking questions like, what do you mean they identified this individual with some sort of strange gate or through some sort of AI program that can like, are those programs accurate? Glenn has since come back and essentially said, maybe we got to be careful about naming the name. Got to be careful. This person definitely deserves justice. I don't know if you got a call, if somebody said, hey, just a heads up, we got to be careful about how we approach some of this. And here's the other piece. Maybe the investigation is ongoing and these people are closing in and they got to make sure that they got all their I's dotted and T's crossed.
I think it is the biggest scandal of my lifetime. There is a major development in the January 6th pipe bomber investigation. Blaze News has the exclusive. Its lead suspect is at the highest levels of government. And Steve joins me now. How long have you been working on this story?
I've been pulling the threads on this for exactly 4 years.
If anybody ever wondered why they made such a big deal out of arresting Steve, this is why.
I was so shocked by what I saw, I immediately took it to a source in one of the most important, highest level investigative federal agencies in the country. And I said, you have to see this. After they looked at it for about 2 hours, the response that I got back was, holy F, she's one of us.
And when you find out the position, this now will implicate so many people at the highest levels. What's your confidence level in this story?
I can give you forensic estimates, the analysis of the hoodied bomber on the evening of November 5th compared to the gate analysis of this individual in private life and at work. The actual software hit at a 94% accuracy. Then human analysis from the experts in intelligence is much higher. They looked at it and went, my God, that's it. You've got it.
In a world not gone mad, this would be a best-selling book and a major blockbuster movie. When it all comes out, this is going to involve everybody. I mean, this is really bad. Really, really bad. This apparently just has to be done right because of national security, I'm gathering. Is that right?
That's correct.
And so they've got to take care of things they've got to take care of. Then the story will be released.
I think they have done lots of work behind the scenes. I think there's lots of work happening behind the scenes. I'm not willing to throw FBI under the bus just yet on this, and including the current, Kash Patel and some of those folks, because I don't know. It certainly does seem like past administrations have really wanted to keep the lid on this, and you know why? Now you know why. There's reason for it. If all of this is true, then it goes to show, and it just proves what we've known. What we've known for so long is that this was a coup, essentially, in a very strange time, in a very strange year. Something that just added to it all. Hey, a couple of stories you got here today. There is a baby formula recall. 15 infants in 12 states sickened by botulism in the baby formula. It's called ByHeart. I think that's the name of the company that makes it. That's in the stack today. You're going to see that out there as a recall is taking place. A bridge collapse in China, which is incredible. I remember seeing the report on this video when they first sent it out. Look at this bridge. It's beautiful. But I wondered the same thing. Oh, no, we don't want an ad. What is these ads? Well, look at all these ads. They got all these ads on this screen. Hang on. Let me show you. If I can find get this video. I don't know how long the ad lasts. But look what's an ad for. It's one of those injections that we've been talking about. You can't skip it. The bridge in China's southwestern Sichuan province, I don't know if I'm saying that right or not, collapsed just a month after opening following visible signs of geological instability in surrounding terrain. Local authorities in the city confirmed that a portion of the Hongkai Bridge spans 758 meters along a national highway linking central China to Tibet gave way Tuesday afternoon. Whoa, there it is. Oh my God.
Oh, Ciao
That is incredible. I remember them seeing them like build this thing and like announce the opening. There's like there's, you know how they do in China. They do crazy things and then they're like very sort of braggadocious about what they just did. And so there is this stupid commercial. They're going to make us sit through another minute of this. Oh my gosh. I wanted to be able to show you the original bridge. And they've got this thing. So 40 seconds left of this thing. Oh my gosh. Let me see if I can find it over here on the YouTube. China Bridge collapses. Yeah, maybe that'll do it. There's lots of video of the collapse, but I'm looking for the first video that they had up, where they actually show the video where they're bragging about the bridge and like how tall it is and how far it goes and why it's so cool. All right, 4 seconds left, folks. Here we go. Let's see if we can get this. It was a commercial from Lilly. Now it's like Chinese. Now it's the Chinese Air Force. My goodness. Is there any way I can? These websites. This is Newsweek. All right, here we go. Hang on. Look at the bridge. Tallest bridge in the world. Remember, this was the biggest. Oh, it's another commercial. Oh, this one's only going to be 10 seconds. Hang on. Oh, gosh, you people with your websites. I like to throw something at the screen here, but that's not going to help us at all. There it is. All right, let's go back to the beginning. Tallest bridge in the world. Let's see what they say here. All right, look, that's the restaurant. See, that's the thing on top. I remember this. I saw this like a month ago. I go, wow, I don't know if I'd want to eat up there in China. This is the bridge that collapsed. They brag about all this stuff because they're like, look at us, look how great we are. And it's a lot. It's like a lot of things that China does. It's kind of paper tiger stuff. And you get to see sort of like the pulling the curtain back on everything. Did they find Noah's Ark? I just saw this and I thought it was really interesting. This is a story they've been doing for years.
These mountains,
it's an old
millennia ago, submerged by floods. And in this beautiful, biblical landscape, named in the Old Testament, the shape of a ship. The book of Genesis says Noah landed here in the mountains of Ararat.
By the way, I have a friend who actually went, and he's on a documentary, Finding Noah. And it's a fantastic, a good friend. We just interviewed him the other day. He's down in Antarctica right now on another mission. And he was part of that documentary and Finding Noah. And I think this might have been the place where they were looking.
Could this really be Noah's Ark? New research shared with Today hints at that extraordinary conclusion. Believers have been drawn to this site in Turkey, close to the Iranian border, since it mysteriously emerged after an earthquake in the 1940s.
You're here.
Christian researcher Andrew Jones from California says the dimensions match.
In chapter 6 of Genesis, it talks about a 300 cubit long boat. And that, if you use the Egyptian cubit, is 515 feet long or about 157 meters. And that's exactly the length of this boat-shaped object.
It really is wild. I can't tell you for a fact whether it is or isn't. I can tell you that I'll put this up on the stack today. If you want to see it, you can. But I've seen this before. There's been a lot of this. Did we find the Ark finally and all the rest of it? And it's just another example of it. And it is out there and ready for you now. So keep an eye on that. VIP Freedom Fan members, join us. We're going to Troy Miller on from National Religious Broadcaster. Talking to him in just moments if you want to come over for that conversation. A Maha Missy update and more today. Always appreciate you being here with us. Thank you for taking the time. Again, healthwithjustin.com. I continue down that road myself, feeling great, better than ever, and you can join me, healthwithjustin.com. We'll get that update from Missy later on today, talking about some of these major stories. What's in our food, particularly that story about the fries we just talked about, and the real food. And people are so flabbergasted when they see it now. They just can't imagine it. Join me and so many others who have seen the results. Get the info at healthwithjustin.com. Trucker Randy, our good friend, who's on the radio as well with those great results too. Man, oh man, healthwithjustin.com. Joining the fight. Make America healthy again. Starts with you. It starts with me. One person at a time. You want to make this country better. You got to start with you. All right, back with more. Make it a great one. God bless.